Do begin with some news we're just learning from the White House that California has confirmed the nation's first Omicron variant case. It's out of the Bay Area. Let's listen in. Here's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Talk about why it's important to get vaccinated. I think what's happening now is another example of why it's important for people to get vaccinated who've not been vaccinated, but also boosting. Boosting is really very important because the data that we get on boosting, if you look at the level, for example, of an antibody, a neutralizing antibody, peak following the second dose of a 2-dose mRNA, it's like at this level. If you look at the peak following the third shot boost, it goes way up here. And people ask, why is that important? Because our experience with variants, such as the Delta variant, is that even though the vaccine isn't specifically targeted to the Delta variant, when you get a high enough level of an immune response, you get spillover protection even against a variant that the vaccine wasn't specifically directed at. And that's the reason why we feel, even though we don't have a lot of data on it, there's every reason to believe that that kind of increase that you get with the boost would be helpful, at least in preventing severe disease of a variant like Omicron.
Dr. Fauci, as you know, a lot of Americans right now are shopping for the best sort of booster, whatever they can get. And given the fact that manufacturers and scientists are racing to learn more about this variant and then to modify a vaccine that will more directly combat it right now, first, for those who already received their boost, how long would it be for them before conceivably they could have a new modified booster that would more directly target this? And is there any reason those individuals should wait, given the White House has said it'll be a couple of months perhaps before we have a more modified vaccine that more directly targets it?
Great question, because we get asked it a lot and it's a relevant question. So right now, I would not be waiting. People say, well, if we're going to have a booster-specific vaccine, should we wait? If you are eligible, namely 6 months with a double mRNA dose or 2 months with the J&J, get boosted now. We may not need a variant-specific boost. We're preparing for the possibility that we need a variant-specific boost. And that's what the companies are doing. The administration has been in contact with the pharmaceutical companies to go ahead and take the steps in case we need it. But the mistake people would make is to say, let me wait and see if we get one. If you're eligible for boosting, get boosted right now.
Sabrina.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Follow up to Tyler's question, because there is screening in place for international travel, but we've seen how quickly variants can spread once they reach our shores. Does the science not suggest that there should at a minimum be a testing requirement for domestic air travel? And if not, why not?
Well, again, these kinds of things we always talk about and consider, but right now, I'm not so sure we need a testing for an air travel in this country. I always get back to the fact is that people should wind up getting vaccinated and boosted if they're eligible for a boost. I keep coming back to that because that's really the solution to this problem.
Jay.
Two quick ones.
All right, Dr. Anthony Fauci from the White House right now as we're getting a briefing on this first case of Omicron that has been found here in California. It's the first one in the entire country. Not unexpected. We knew that this was going to be found here in the United States at some point. There have been clusters of cases, first out of South Africa, that were identified, and then some 24 other nations have also found these cases. Here's what we know about the person here in California that has come down with this particular variant, Omicron. Dr. Fauci saying that they were a traveler who returned from South Africa November 22nd, tested positive November 29th. They were fully vaccinated, and they've had mild symptoms, appear to be doing well, and are in quarantine right now. So the CDC also going to be taking steps to tighten some U.S. testing rules for travelers coming in overseas, including requiring a test for all travelers within a day of boarding a flight in the United States, regardless of their vaccination status. That's something that is going to be coming, and they're also considering mandating post-arrival testing as well. So there we have it, the first case of Omicron variant identified in the United States, and it is here in California, out of the Bay Area.